What's going on, guys? Welcome back to No Reserves Radio, the football edition. I am Angelo, the host, as always, here with Alex. What is up, Alex?
What is up, guys? We're gonna start calling this like the victory laps episode because we're just gonna take turns on victory lapping right now.
Oh man, that was a rough week, dude. That was a really
Very
rough week.
week.
Like everything just went bad for me. Like I knew it was gonna be bad when I watched the Bengals game, and the Bengals offense at the start still struggled, and I was like, oh no, oh no, oh no. And they finally got it going, but it was too late at that point, and Joe Burrow obviously got hurt again.
It will only get worse now.
Yeah, now it's gonna get. I don't know if Burrow's gonna play. Honestly, at this point, you rested him the preseason. Basically, you can tell he hasn't been like as mobile as he normally is through the first two games. Honestly, I just shut him down and then until he's ready, and then when he's ready to go out there, put him out there. That's just me, though.
It just seems like the type of player who won't go with that, but
No,
I think it's probably the best idea as well. I mean, Chase said as much when he was like coming back from injury that he wanted like nothing but to get like Burrow at 100%, but
yeah.
Burrow seems to want to push it, so
Burrow gonna Burrow. At the end of the game, something I do love about Burrow at the end of the game, like it panned to Burrow as the Ravens were running out the last play, and he started walking to the field, and all I just heard was him scream the F-bomb. I was like, yeah, that's pretty much how I feel right now too, buddy. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, dude wears like the emotions on the skin, as you can say, so it shows. He's like a pretty like competitive guy as well.
Love him.
Yeah, but like as I was saying, this week you did a complete U-turn. Like last week you were 11-5. This week you were 5-11. Like complete U-turn. So that obviously puts you at like 500 for the season. Yeah. Meanwhile, I was 7-9 the week prior, and this week I was 11-5. So I am 18-14 overall. So you're now what? 2 games behind me?
I guess so. You got lucky. Okay. That's all. You got lucky.
I got a lot of underdogs right. You did mention like in the show that you were picking a lot of favorites, which was right. I mean,
I was
a whole lot of.
I was more worried about the result and less about the spread, and something we're gonna adjust for. We're gonna adjust for the Baltimore the Cincinnati Bengals absolutely still struggling. Deshaun Watson proving it wasn't just the rain, and he actually might just be bad.
Awful, dude.
He looked really, really awful.
Yeah, I stayed up to watch like the whole game, and he looked slow when he was like running the ball and so on, when he had to take off. And then his passes looked terrible. He looks completely off. And then the comments afterwards, like blaming the guys for the face masks. Basically, like he had 2 face mask penalties where he basically just grabbed the mask of the other guy, like nothing iffy about it. And then in the press conference, he was like, the Steelers guys have some blame on it. It wasn't all on me, which is pretty ironic considering like the whole situation around him. Yeah, and I mean, like, Deshaun Watson, I watched that old game, like, just to watch, like, because you know that we are both invested on Pickett, and I wanted to see how basically Pickett looked versus that Browns D-line. And yeah, Watson looked terrible. I mean, Pickett didn't look good, but Watson, for what he's being paid, he looked terrible. He looked slow when he had to like rush the ball, and his throws looked very sluggish. And I mean, like I don't think I ever saw QB like with like two penalties of face masks in the same game, and then he just turns around and like in the post game conference, he just says that some of the blame is on the Steelers guys. I mean, if you're like grabbing the face mask of your opponent, what is really there to blame on the opponent? I mean, knowing what we know about like all of the allegations around him, mm, pretty ironic that he said what he said.
So I did not watch the game because obviously I have to be awake before like the sun even thinks about getting up. So I didn't get to see it. I did see a few images from the game, but what game script happened that made Deshaun Watson throw the ball 44 times and then Browns run the ball what looked like 30 times?
I mean, just to give you some context, I believe the first quarter lasted an hour. Yeah, like the
Lasted
full
an
first
hour?
an hour. Yeah, I mean, it started with like a Steelers. I'm not sure if it was a pick six or a fumble six because when the game started, I was watching the Panthers Saints for fantasy football purposes, and then like I believe it was like in the first drive, like first two or three plays. I just like read throughout Twitter that it was basically like a fumble recovery for six. I believe it was that a fumble recovery for six. So we're on the back foot, and then I mean, just a bunch of penalties, a bunch of turnovers. Yeah, he has to throw a lot because they are down from early, and it's a very sluggish game. Both games last night were pretty sluggish, and then like Chubb gets hurt. I mean, we haven't spoken about that, but yeah, terrible injury,
Yeah,
and
the
yeah,
Chubb
that's
getting hurt. If you haven't looked at the Chubb injury, you're not going to find it because I believe ABC or C ref- actually refused to show the replay because of how gruesome the injury was.
Yeah, you can find it like on Twitter and so on. There's a few like slow motion replays of like the play happening live, and you can see. I mean, the knee just completely goes the other way. It's pretty gross.
It looked like someone photoshopped it. Like it didn't look
Yeah,
real.
yeah, the knee just completely went the other way. I mean, terrible stuff. And I mean, he's one of the better running backs in the league, probably the best pure running back in the league. And it's terrible to see something like this happen to him.
Yeah. Well, I think we need to get back on track because if not, we're going to be here until tomorrow.
Until the morning.
Well, it is going to be the morning for you. So, but regardless, let's go over a few of these games and where Alex was right and I was wrong. And
We can make a whole
yeah,
segment out of that this week.
yeah, we could. Unfortunately, gotta.
Okay, so I mean, I guess we can just start from which was the
Thursday
the
night game.
Thursday night game. Yeah. Oh, we have our games like not in order. Like the first game that I'm seeing is the Baltimore Ravens one.
Yeah, I see that
Yeah.
too.
Okay. Let's just start with the Thursday night football. I mean, pretty eventful game. I mean, the Eagles won. Um, they beat I mean, competitive game, but they beat the Vikings 34-28
So I
in
called
a
the victor right. It was just they covered the spread on that one.
yeah,
You're gonna
yeah.
gonna
Yeah,
see
you had
that.
like a really bad beat. We'll talk about it later. And you had a really bad beat on one of your spreads that I didn't get why they did what they did, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
to start the game, it looked like the Eagles were trying to pull away, but then like mistakes on the offense as well. Hurts threw a pick, really ugly pick as well, and just the Vikings just hang in there. I mean, Cousins pretty solid game. I mean, he had like four touchdowns,
It,
364 yards.
if it wasn't obvious before, it is now. The Vikings have no interest in running, and even if they did, they can't run.
Yeah, I
So,
think it's more they
like,
can't run.
so, 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 just if you didn't already, or if you're going for a championship, just get all the Minnesota targets, get Addison, get Jefferson, get Hawkins, just get everyone and ignore the running backs exist, and there you go, you're happy. Because even if one of those guys doesn't have a good game, like Hawk, I believe didn't have a great week one, it's gonna
Yeah.
come. Like there's no way it doesn't come with the way that they're throwing the ball.
Yeah.
There's no way.
And he had a good game too. I mean, he had 7
Yeah,
receptions, 66 yards, and then he had like 2 touchdowns. So
yeah. That's
that
why I
made the
used him
week
as a
possible.
point. Just
Yeah.
if they have one bad game, that doesn't mean that's gonna. The good game's coming. Just trust the good game's coming.
Yeah. That will be solid advice for tomorrow's episode when we go in depth on the fantasy stuff. But I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
story of the game is probably like Swift, like completely dominating the touches in that backfield, and like
Ridiculous.
the Vikings defense is terrible. Especially like the rushing defense. The passing defense isn't great either, but I mean the rushing defense. The running backs had all day to run through those holes. I mean, just a massive mismatch. But at the end of the day, the Eagles just didn't pull away as much as it seemed like throughout all of the game. The Eagles definitely seemed like the better team, but the Vikings, they had a chance there. I mean, they had
I'm
like that.
actually kind of concerned with the Eagles with what I've seen so far. They
And you
don't look
should be.
bad, but they don't look like they did last year.
No, it really doesn't. I mean, it seems like Steichen stole a few of the Magic playbook away. They still have like that completely stupid play. I mean, it's effective as hell, but I mean the push, is it like the tug push or the push tag or whatever?
Yo, yeah,
Basically
yeah,
the QB
yeah.
sneak.
The QB sneak booty push.
Yeah, I mean, I cannot, like, for the life of me, I cannot see how you stop that. And they ran
I
it
don't
like
know
three or
either.
four times, and it was like an immediate first down every single time, or a touchdown. I mean, I think they ran it twice for a touchdown as well. That play is
Yeah.
eventually going to be banned or changed or something like that. But I mean, it's the most effective play they have in the playbook when they need like a yard. And it's not like something that every team can apply because not every team has a Jason Kelsey, and not every team has a QB that is like what 6'1", 223 pounds. So
Yeah. You mean Jalen Hurts? Isn't he like 6'4"?
no, I mean Sleeper says it's 6'1",
Oh,
but
really?
this
I
seems
thought he was six
completely
four.
off. He doesn't
Yeah,
seem like 6'1" when you look at him.
yeah. He looks like 6'4".
Yeah,
Regardless, he's huge. He's great. They have the perfect system to facilitate him. I
the
agree with
offense just isn't clicking.
everything no, I agree with everything you said. I just think that it looks like I don't know how to describe it. It looks like they're just winning games because, oh yeah, by the way, we're the better football team on the field. Not we're the better football team on the field, and we also have the best chemistry and plays. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and I believe he's like throughout 2 weeks. I believe he's like QB 27 in terms of adjusted EPA per play.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's the offense isn't looking right. The defense is it's not as good as it was last year, but it's not bad either. It will take time to click, in my opinion. It's just like they're still adjusting to the new offensive coordinator, and it seems like they had something really good there with Steichen. But yeah, moving on to like our proper list now with every single
Oh
game here.
God.
We'll talk about your team, and I guess you can take the lead here because I usually like watch Red Zone and have 1 or 2 games and focus in another TV. But yeah, you
So
probably watched this game in full.
I watched the game from start to finish, and it was depressing for like 2/3 of it. So a few things that I noticed just right off the bat. I don't necessarily think the Bengals defense is the Bengals defense from last year, and that's very concerning. The Ravens, it felt like the Ravens could just do whatever they wanted to. on third down, and we just couldn't stop it. I don't know if you were paying attention to the chat while I was like giving my
Having a meltdown.
evaluation, but yeah, having a meltdown. But I just kept saying Gus. Oh, third and short. Gus Edwards inside zone. That's what it felt like, and we couldn't stop it. If it was third and less than 4, Gus Edwards inside zone worked every time. I'm not joking. At least it felt like it. So the Ravens pushed the defense around. The offense looked stagnant at the start and took till the end to really look like the Bengals offense from last year. But it did. It definitely did towards the end. And T. Higgins caught a pair of touchdowns. They did a really good job at containing Jamar Chase, and that surprised me. In fact, we even tried to do things like get him in RPOs and bubble screens to kind of get him the ball and get him going, but it just felt like they had a good plan. I don't know if I said this at the start of the episode, but I know I said it before we started on air. Joe Burrow just looks less explosive and mobile and elusive than he normally does. The calf really bothered him, and you can tell. And I think and the calf got re-aggravated. So we're in trouble. We're in trouble.
Yeah, that's part of my thoughts as well. It seemed like the offense was completely off in the first half, but then like second half they were starting to look a lot more like the Bengals that we know. But yeah, then the re-aggravation of the calf. I mean, that's gonna be a major issue. I mean, Chase, like when he was injured, I remember like in the preseason, and we talked about this before recording. I mean, I remember one of his comments was basically like that he wanted nothing to try and rush Burrow. He just wanted like Burrow to get 100% healthy. But like Burrow being Burrow, you know that he was gonna try and rush it, and probably this wasn't like the right choice.
So before we couldn't stop him on 3 straight third downs to end the game, Joe Burrow actually had one of those massagers, the manual massagers, and he was just like spamming his calf with it. He had every expectation to return to that field if we got that ball back. He does not want to be off that field.
Yeah. I mean, it's comprehensible. I mean, this is a true born competitor. We have seen that throughout his career, both in the NFL and at LSU and OSU. Was it OSU where he was before LSU?
He was at OSU before LSU, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, as I said, like following the trends here of Hurts, like Burrow is 28 right now in the NFL in adjusted EPA per play. Still not great. I mean, let's hope he finally takes time to heal off that calf injury.
That's honestly a lot better than I thought because we looked like the dead last offense in the NFL for like 6 quarters.
Well, if it does make you feel any better, he's currently like being like 28 QB in that list that I told you. He's currently like the second QB in his division in EPA per play. So you can imagine how terrible the other two are. And Lamar is not on the list.
Yeah, I figured Lamar wasn't on the list.
Yeah. We'll get there. I'll let you know how low the other two guys are.
Okay.
But yeah.
Oh, God!
Well, I told you. We are on to the next game, and the Atlanta Falcons won. 25-24 versus the Green Bay Packers.
The Atlanta Falcons should not have won that game. The Green Bay Packers had that game in the... I honestly have no idea how they blew that lead, so you go ahead and you tell me how they blew that lead.
I mean, they just couldn't stop the run game. I mean, Bijan Robinson, 19 carries, 124 yards. Desmond Ridder, 10 carries, 39 yards. Tyler Algier, 16 carries, 48 yards. I mean, they had almost 200 yards rushing. They had like over 40 carries basically in the game. It's exactly what I told you it would happen prior to the season. They will be a team that will dominate the clock. You won't have many plays to play on offense. They have a stout defense. And I mean, if you can't stop the run game, which is pretty damn hard at this point because like Arthur Smith is a genius at that, you will be in trouble because you won't have the ball enough
Here's the
time
thing.
to actually.
Here's the thing, though. Here's what frustrates me the most about that. You said they can't stop the run. They have a 2-touchdown lead, Alex. It shouldn't matter if they can stop the run or not. You should be passing.
Yeah, but
That's
they
what makes
won't
it
pass.
worse. That's what
And,
makes it worse.
and just to make a point here, not only did like Desmond Ridder have more attempts than Jordan Love, like the rushing attempts of the Atlanta Falcons damn near double the amount of pass attempts that Jordan Love had. So yeah, they were up, but then after that, like the Falcons just stick to their game plan. I mean, it was run, 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 run. It's effective run game, and they don't care about the time because they know that the defense will get a stop, and after that they will just run, 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 run even more. Occasional
It's
pass.
so
I mean,
bad. It's
Ridder
so
did have like 32 pass attempts. It still looked terrible. I mean, I told you any single QB can win it this team. But yeah, I mean, that's the story of the game. They run the ball quite a bit and they win. And it will be the recipe like for the entirety of the year.
no, no.
It will. It will.
The,
I mean, they
the
have the
Saints,
easiest
the
schedule
Saints
in the
have to
NFL.
stop this. The Saints have to have an answer for this.
Oh, we will talk about the Saints later, but the Saints are not winning
So
this division.
we're gonna cut off. We actually have our first guest. He has joined us in the middle of us talking about. Ren actually missed the most heartbreaking games. Well, he came in the middle of the second one, but hey, Ren, how's it going?
Guest.
Guest. That's right, guest. Yes, I said
disrespectful.
guest.
I'm just here kind of to listen to y'all talk. Maybe be a layman for our listeners. I will say it is refreshing to hear Angelo screaming over someone else instead of it always being me.
I'm used to it by now.
You have to. Like, look, I've been dealing with this for like 10 years at this point. Like, it's a skill. And the worst part is, he's better now. If you go listen to the first few episodes of the basketball podcast, the biggest feedback we were getting from listeners was Angelo talks too loud, too much, too often over everyone. So he actually did get better. This is him being better.
Damn straight.
I can only imagine the beginning then.
It was bad. I go check those out, Alex. Like, just to listen to Angelo. Don't even like the content itself was terrible, but
yeah,
I'll just listen to him.
No, it was horrible. But yeah, no, I just thought I'd pop in, say hi, hang out for a little bit, listen to y'all talk. I'm fairly I would define myself as a casual NFL fan. I will watch highlights. I don't typically sit through games unless I'm going to the game. I can't really sit through it on TV, but you know, it is what it is. So don't mind me. I'm just here.
As the resident European
God.
here, I'm like totally fine just sitting like through 7 hours of football or 7 or 8 or whatever the line is for the red zone.
I think since we're gonna have apparently the whole crew here soon, I think like pound for pound, Alex is the most, like, I don't know how to explain it. He's the most versed in the sport that he's interested in out of all of us.
I'm not even from America at this point.
So that's actually a bit of feedback I did get as well. Is that bringing Alex on board? Because I was hesitant. If you go when we're our off the record episodes,
I never had a doubt
about this.
Never had a doubt.
Okay, but to be fair, the people you have introduced to me are people like Adam.
No,
Gara.
false. Adam introduced you to me.
Whatever. What I'm saying is you don't have the best track record of people around you.
False.
Right? No.
False.
That's absolutely
right.
It's
false.
So
it's false.
When they were pitching this football podcast as a spinoff, they were laughing about it and like, oh, we're gonna get Alex. Like it was like you were some idiot that it was gonna be funny. And so for me it was
because I knew it was gonna be great.
No,
Stop
you were
this.
No, go listen to those episodes because we talked about it. I actually said I vetoed because you found it so funny. But the listeners' feedback has been that this is a very, very solid foundation. You both are very knowledgeable. And just from my perspective as a layman, absolutely. Like, I don't know football that well, but I enjoy listening to it. So, good job, Alex. I'm not going to say good job to Angelo. I never will.
Thank you.
So
Wow.
basically,
Wow.
what I'm saying is I carry Angelo on the basketball podcast. You carry him here.
What?
He just rides along on our coattails.
Yeah, he's just here. He's just here.
I've
It looks like actually Austin jumped in too. So you got two guests. Weird
We
guests.
have the whole crew here. What the heck is going on? Austin, what's up?
I feel like
Gang's all here.
Gang's all here. I feel like we're dragging your guys' episode out. So
Who
continue.
cares? It's like 11 o'clock for Alex. We'll probably be done at 1 a.m. He'll hate life the next morning, but it's gonna be good. It's gonna be great.
Just another day of like going to bed at around 4 a.m.
There we go. Exactly. Just another day.
Well, so catch me up. Catch me and Austin up here. What have you guys been talking about? Like, just give a quick like Spark Notes version.
I mean,
We
at this
have
point,
been talking about the injuries that happened, specifically to Burrow, Chubb, Barkley, and we have reviewed the Eagles against the Vikings, the Ravens against the Bengals, and the Falcons against the Packers is what we were talking about in the middle of you coming in.
So you lost like 2 Angelo meltdowns already.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm gonna get like 6 more of those tonight once you guys are done and we go jump on 2K.
I don't.
You're probably gonna get a lot more. I mean, we're 3 games in, and he has melted down on 2. So
To be fair, the way I think you rigged this because the way this list works, the most heartbreaking ones were the first 2. So,
no, there's another one coming.
There is another one coming.
Here's the thing. I don't know why Angelo gets like heartbroken during this. He's a fan of Ohio sports. This is how it works. Am I wrong?
Oh, he's in shock now.
He is wrong. He is wrong. You know what? We made a
Tell me
Super Bowl before your stupid state, so there you go. Get good. How's the Pacers doing? How are the Colts doing? Oh my God!
When was the last? Wait, hold on.
Oh,
I have the question. When was the last Super Bowl victory, Super Bowl ring for a team from Ohio?
Victory?
Yeah, victory. That's all you care about.
Probably in the 1940s.
Okay, when did the Colts win?
Like 2007?
I was alive for that.
So who?
Yeah.
Oh God. So, who won last? I think it was my Colts.
Listen, we have the most recent Super Bowl appearance. Anyway.
Yeah, an appearance. You are on the record as saying appearances don't matter. All that matters is the hardware. You don't care about the fact that only one team.
I don't know if I said that exactly.
No. Again, we have the basketball podcast. We were talking about it with Giannis. You don't care about appearances. You don't care about productivity. You don't care about like end over end improvements. All you care about is that championship. Because when we were talking about Giannis's quote about the season's not a failure, you said, did they win? It's not, but you can't have it both ways.
They lost to an 8 seed, Ren. There's a difference between winning, like calling it a failure because you lost in the finals and calling it a failure because you lost to the freaking 8 seed as a 1 seed.
But where did that 8 seed go?
To somewhere that you didn't think they could get to.
Right, absolutely. I didn't. But nobody did except you. But if they lost to the team that made it, again, only one team can win a championship every year. The fact that you don't win or that one team wins and 29 lose does not mean those 29 other teams failed, because that's not how sports work. If that was the point of sports, we wouldn't be here. The point of sports is competition. Yes, the end goal is to win, but that doesn't mean that, you lost, you're done, you lose. Like, I mean, you do lose.
That is how it works in football. But anyway, on to the next game.
Keep going.
The Buccaneers and the Bears. Go ahead, Alex, because
I don't even think I need to go on another rant here. I mean, at least I'm
Justin
starting to
Fields.
get like
You don't
some.
want to take to the Justin Fields route?
No, I mean,
The pick six? You don't want to take the pick six?
like the horse is probably dead at this point. I've never seen so much like. I mean, I've seen so much hate for like one QB in that class, which was Zach Wilson up until now. Everyone is turning on this dude, and I mean, fairly so. Dude is like terrible. I've seen like 2 or 3 plays where I saw this one play on Twitter where it was basically like he was dropping back, and there were like, first he looks at DJ Moore on the like an out route basically. He doesn't throw it. DJ Moore is open. Then he moves on to a seam. The seam is wide open. There's no safety deep. He doesn't throw it. Then he looks to another seam, wide open, doesn't throw it, and gets sacked. Yeah, I mean, you're just like, dude, come on. You look like, I don't even think you look like a rookie. There's rookies right now that are looking much more better than you are. And you have like 30 games, basically. You're 30 games into your career and you look terrible. It's over. Moving to the Bucks, though, I don't even think we need to talk about the Bears anymore. I mean,
if I'm not mistaken, I called the Bucks on this one too.
Yeah,
correct.
We both called the Bucks. I mean, there's no way I'm ever picking like the Bears, which is
what?
Like,
Bucks.
Oh, there's no way I ever pick the Bears, dude.
We'll see. There will be a few games where I pick the Bears this year. I know that.
You might pick them this week if you look at the line, but we'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, terrible all around from the Bears.
Here's the thing. If
nice.
you're into betting, Justin Fields is terrible for your line because if he's gonna throw a late pick six, like and make it a double-digit lead anyway. I don't know.
I mean, it was like the least effort play that I ever saw. Like the dude basically threw a lob, and Barrett was like, "Okay, I get it," and then like pick six. I mean, like there's problems outside of Fields with the Bears. The play calling is not good. The defense is terrible. I mean, I've been saying that all off season. For some reason, we thought that adding like most people thought that adding like 2 inside linebackers would solve the defense. I don't know how, but okay. But yeah, after all, the defense is terrible. The O-line is actually like passable right now, but he has time to throw. He just can't throw. But I'm kind of sick of talking about the Bears. I'll give props to the Bucks. Baker looks kind of nice when he plays the Bears.
Okay, so Baker has looked nice the last 2 weeks, and we can acknowledge the defenses he's played aren't the greatest, the Vikings and the Bears. But are we at a point now where Baker is at least a serviceable starter? Like, he might actually be able to get them into the playoffs if the schedule is really that soft?
No. Because, again, he has played the Vikings and the Bears. And with the Vikings, I mean, after what I saw on Thursday night, he only threw for like 170 yards versus and I mean, Hurts didn't throw for a whole lot, but he only threw for like 170 yards, and like Rashad White had basically like no yardage versus the Vikings, who basically like allowed Swift to have like the best game ever.
We will talk about Rashad White in the fantasy episode.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this team is anything, but I mean, with this defense playing like they are right now, they have a solid shot to at least make waves. I still don't think they win the division or anything close. It's still the Falcons' division to lose.
We'll talk. We'll talk about that one later. Austin, since you're the resident person from Florida, what's your take on the Buccaneers?
I mean, I don't live over there anymore, so I don't have like the deep connections. But I mean, people are surprised by Baker for sure. A lot of people kind of wrote this year off of maybe we'll win 5 or 6 games. The defense is looking great. That's what a lot of people down here are excited about. But if I'm honest, a lot of people are looking ahead to the Jags and the Dolphins more than they are the Bucks.
Yeah, that can make sense. That makes a lot of sense, especially considering the offense. Yeah, as they should. You're not wrong about that. So
I'll give you basically that they aren't as terrible as I expected them to be. I still don't think they will be good, but they aren't as terrible as I thought they would be.
that's fair. All right, on to the next game. This is your team. I'm gonna let you take point on your team.
My Seattle Seahawks beat the Lions at Detroit 37-31 in an overtime game here.
What happened?
It's just
I
like
just kept looking at the box score and it looked crazy. So what happened?
I mean, small repeat of last year. Last year was slightly more high scoring. I believe it was in the 50s. But yeah, I mean, Gino apparently that isn't terrible as some people thought. I mean, as I said, like last week was basically a fluke. I didn't expect us to look as bad as we were, and we did well. I mean, the run game wasn't like super efficient, but like Kenneth Walker was being hit in like behind the line quite a lot. So I think part of it is that. But the passing offense looked nice. I mean, the Lions overall are still a good team. Just think that we were on a good day and we made plays when we needed to, and Gino won us the game even with like 2 passing touchdowns, I believe. He had like one. There's some controversy at the end of the game, like the Lions were calling holds and so on in the last play that Lockett got the touchdown. I think it's a very soft hold, but still. I mean, I think what changed the game here really was the pick six by Trey Brown, or I believe it's third year corner. He made a pick six on like middle of the fourth quarter on Goff, and basically like put us at like I believe it was 31-21. And after that, I mean, we managed to just hold on to the game. We still couldn't stop like the Lions from scoring and tying us late. But yeah,
Where was this Lions offense against Kansas City?
I mean, we will talk about Kansas City, but I think Kansas City's defense, as I said last episode, it's really good. I think it's just a matter of the Lions weren't
If the Kansas City's defense is good enough to hold the Lions, then the Kansas City team isn't losing another game this year.
Yeah, and I mean, I think our defense still isn't quite there. We're still down a few pieces. I believe like Pro Football. Wait, no, what is it? PFF? Yeah, PFF. PFF has this
PFF.
really like not great. I believe it's in the 20s for the passing defense, but our rushing defense, I believe it's in the 11s. If not mistaken, I believe it's the 11 best. So yeah, I think it's just a matter of time until we gel and get better at the secondary. I really don't think like.
I mean,
should
it's
be
not like
like
your secondary is
comparison here.
bad. You have Tyreek Woolen from last year, and I know Witherspoon went down, but
Yeah,
when is he
Witherspoon
coming
hasn't
back?
played actually. I think like there's optimism that he plays soon enough. He wasn't put on like IR to start the season, so I'm expecting him back somewhat soon. Tyreek did went down. Holland did went down like for a bit. I believe he came back though. We are still like down Jamal Adams as well, so some pieces should be coming back. But yeah, it's a Seattle thing. I mean, we usually start slow on the defense. Like the secondary is usually terrible at the start, and it gets better as the season goes on. So, I mean, for us to have a part of the defense already ranked like top 15, I'm expecting this defense to get a lot better as the season goes on.
Okay. Do either of you two have anything on Seahawks Lions? It's a really good game.
It was a shootout.
Yeah,
It was a shootout.
That's all you can really say about it.
should be added that
Okay.
Montgomery was hurt though.
He
I
was
believe-
hurt. He did
yeah.
go down.
Thigh injury, I believe they are calling that. So it should be a few weeks until he's back. He was looking okay. I mean, as I said, our rushing defense is pretty solid right now, but he was looking okay. Jameer Gibbs didn't get like all of the touches. We'll talk about it in the fantasy show. Like
Yeah,
Craig
we'll talk
Reynolds,
about Gibbs and what that means.
yeah, Craig Reynolds was actually like the guy who got the touches. They're still looking to be somewhat conservative with Gibbs right now.
Which I get,
Yeah,
especially with the way Dan Campbell likes to coach. He seems to have that mindset of, let's get the rookie accommodated to NFL speed and then let him run.
yeah,
So,
and he's also like
I
not
get it.
like the biggest guy, so you don't really want to run him in between the tackles quite a lot. So you lose
Yeah, you don't
like
want.
that juice and so on that he has. But yeah,
I
solid
think
game.
that's going to have a greater effect on the way the offense moving forward. I think they're going to be like similar to the Vikings, but not quite the Vikings in the sense they're going to want to pass, and see if they can get Jameer Gibbs' short game to replace the running game.
Yeah, I believe it like his route participation and so on really went up after the Montgomery went down. So should be like basically like the Lions from before. I'm not sure if you remember, but like with Stafford and so on, when they basically couldn't run the ball and they had like a passing run game with Theo Riddick. No, yeah,
Oh, when they also had no defense too.
yeah. So yeah, I think it's gonna be something like that. Another thing to mention though is CJ Gardner-Johnson. I believe he went down with an injury, and I believe he's down for the year. So big miss, especially after like the training camp scare that he got. Not good for a guy who tried to bet on himself this offseason.
All right,
If not
time for
mistaken,
this.
I
Time for the
think it's
stupid
cornerback.
Colts.
Yeah, I mean,
Time for,
I told you, dude. I'm not sure why you bet on the Texans in our picks show.
because I didn't expect Anthony Richardson to go down and a quarterback capable of putting up more than 14 points to come into the game.
I just want to point out that in like 10 minutes, Anthony Richardson scored 2 touchdowns. So
He did, but he
I'm
didn't
not
do it
sure if
again.
that would. I'm not sure if that wouldn't have been like a complete blowout if he's there.
I don't know.
Which I mean,
It just
still ended
depends.
up being. I think they were like down 31-10 entering the fourth quarter. So
Yeah, they were out of that game. I do think it was more Anthony Richardson did it with his legs than with his passing, and it seemed like Gardner Minshew did it with his passing. So it's just the Texans' defense is bad. Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! It's bad. It's a bad team. CJ Stroud continues to like look good for me. I don't know if you like the way he looks, hate the way he looks, but he seems like he's just taking the crap sandwich that Houston gave him and doing well.
yeah, so like this conversation came up with Corey, like from one of our fantasy leagues.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's a massive like CJ Stroud fan, and like he was looking back at the film and was pretty adamant that he looked good so far. He looked special, I believe was the word that he used.
I don't know if he looks special, but he looks better than I thought he would with that supporting cast.
Yeah, I would agree with that. He looks better than I thought he would be, but I still don't like when I watch him. I still don't see anything that basically tells me, "Wow, this guy is great." I'm basically seeing a guy who's down like quite a bit, like as I said, 31-10 entering the fourth quarter. I'm like, he's just playing soft coverages at that point. He's making play. I mean, he has more 300 passing yard. He has more 300 yards passing games than Fields.
Oh,
But
not this. Stop
yeah, and I
it.
mean, he has 2 games on his career, but he still doesn't look like great. He's just playing from behind a lot, and he has to throw a lot. He's not making many mistakes, but like the defense isn't really forcing him into those mistakes. Now the offensive line is terrible, and he's getting pressured quite a bit. But I mean,
Everything is terrible, dude.
yeah,
Like,
except like Nico Collins. Nico Collins looks amazing for some reason. Like there was this one play where I think it was the first touchdown that he threw, and he basically like threw it to the end zone. It looked to me like the ball was gonna sail completely out of bounds. But like Nico Collins make this amazing play. Dude looks like MJ, makes a jump, catches the ball like from like I don't know, man. That play looked great from
it was a
Nico.
crazy play.
Showed a lot of but like athleticism on his behalf. I will say I will go back to my adjusted EPA per play. CJ Stroud right now is QB 26 in that list. So above Jalen Hurts, above Burrow, still not great, but above those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the Colts defense isn't great. The offense is good, and they have shown they have a capable backup. I've never been like the biggest Minshew fan, but he's a capable backup right now. I do worry about like the Anthony Richardson like injuries. I
Concussion.
mean, he was injured like week 1. Now he gets an injured week 2, like concussion, I believe.
Yep.
Not the greatest start, but he still looks good whenever he's out there. He looks to me like the best rookie QB, and I did not expect that.
He's gonna get Andrew Lucked.
So I will provide a little bit here because this is all anyone's talking about in the news here. So from what I understand, he doesn't actually have a concussion. He put himself into concussion protocols because he hit his head when he got hit on that last drive. But Irsay, it's Irsay, so take it
with
at
the
face
greatest
value. He said that he's cleared. It's just the rest of this week is going to be spent wondering who's starting under center next week, whether that's Minshew or Richardson. That said, concussions are tricky. Like, I could sit here and say it didn't look like a hit that would cause a concussion, but throughout all of sports, we could say that about anything. But yeah, according to Irsay, he's good. And
yeah, I did read that report as well. I believe he was developing some systems, so it's just self-reported. It did looked like a not so great hit because like the head bounced when he was tackled going for the touchdown. So not sure. I mean, if it's just a concussion and he's okay like throughout the week, I don't see why not. Why you shouldn't start him. But I mean, it's still the Ravens, and if there's something else with the QB, you probably shouldn't put him out there.
For
Let Uncle
me,
Rico take that.
I understood that reference. Yeah, I can't see a reason why you wouldn't start him. The only thing is, I think if you have a concussion scare, even if you're cleared, I think I would have him on a short leash and not let him scramble as often, and maybe I don't know how common it is.
You're just gonna steal their fate.
But I mean, you might as well spend it. Like, if you're not a contender, spend the time developing the skills. So
Agreed.
he's got an arm. It's not an accurate arm. It's an arm.
Yeah.
So
it's more accurate than I thought it would be, though.
Same, but it's still not like. It's not something I would game plan around.
The thing that I've noticed with like Anthony Richardson, and this is mostly like week 1 because he barely played week 2, but the dude is really poised in the pocket. He knows what he's doing, and like one thing that you usually see with rushing QBs is like first read isn't there, they just take off. And he doesn't really do that. He stays in the pocket, he goes through his reads, and he tries to like stay in the pocket as much as he can. Then he just basically rolls out to avoid any sort of sacks and then runs. But he's one of those guys that like prefers to make the pass over the run, which is always something that I really like on a QB.
Yeah, he seems very mature and very poised, but
and he's like the youngest QB in this class, I believe.
Yeah, but like you said, like this early, and we've already had 2 injury scares. I don't like throwing injury prone as a label on players, but that is alarming.
Let's see if he starts taking better care of himself. But I mean, right now he has more wins than Joe Burrow, so.
I mean, it's an Indiana team versus an Ohio team. Like,
he has more touchdowns than Burrow too.
Yeah, that as well.
And like
and he has played like 5 quarters of football.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice. Neither of you can say anything about my team, and it's great.
No. Time.
We'll get to your team.
No. I'm gonna jump in here because I gotta just. We are at that point of the season. Even as a casual football fan, I know how this goes. Cowboys start hot. Y'all act like this year is going to be different. You get to the playoffs. It looks different. Yeah, this is the year. No, it's not. It's never the year. Stop it.
The year.
Get help.
It's the year to fail.
Y'all
it's
are
always
more
the year of the
delusional.
almost.
Honestly, if the Cowboys keep playing like this, they could get a 1 seed. And how like great would it look for the Cowboys to lose a 1 seed game against a wild card team?
That takes us out is the 49ers.
My only question to Cowboy fans is like,
Rodgers in the league.
are you just gonna play teams all year that don't have an offensive line? Because if you are, I mean, that will be great for you. But I mean, you're 2 weeks in, and I don't think you've played an offensive line that ranks like over bottom five. So it's kind of easy to look as dominant when you have played like the Giants completely
Well,
wreck of an
I'm
offensive
not
line.
denying that we're playing the weakest part of our schedule probably.
Yeah. At that point, I mean, the defense looks great, but I want to see like a real test first because I never believe in the Cowboys. So
After Philly will be the real, or is this team real?
I think the Cowboys believe in themselves less than the Cowboys fans. Like,
Oh my God! I just looked at your week 3.
It's the 49ers, I'm pretty sure, right?
Nope.
No,
It's the
week 4 is
freaking Cardinals.
We play the 49ers real soon. I don't know if it's 4 or 5.
You're about to demolish the freaking Cardinals. Oh man.
The Patriots week 4, 5. Week 5 is the 49ers.
So there's your test week.
Yep.
There's your
then we
test
have
week.
Chargers.
they probably get destroyed by the 49ers, as usual.
I don't know a team that isn't going to get destroyed by the 49ers. I'm that high on them, dude. Like,
I mean, to be
I don't.
frank, the Rams game looked close, like
It
throughout the
did.
first half. So
You're not wrong. It did. They had some fight. So moving on to the next game because I'm tired of talking about the damn Colts. Kansas City Chiefs, Jacksonville Jaguars.
Kansas
Man.
City Chiefs is legit.
Defense, yes.
Yeah.
The offense looks bad too. I don't know what's going on. They got Travis Kelce back,
This always happens. It happened
but
last year too.
I like how we say that they look bad, yet like Mahomes at 305 yards passing and Pacheco at like 70 yards running.
he did.
I just think like it's probably not at the level that they were before, but Travis
It's
Kelce
not.
isn't also like 100% yet. And they're still like working like the wide receiver core, which looked better this week.
And that's the scary part. Like, the defense isn't shutting down. Like, they're not playing the Arizona Cardinals or the New York Giants, Cowboys. They shut down the Detroit Lions, which was a top 10 offense last year. And if the Seahawks game is ended, indication they're going to be up there this year again. They shut down the Jacksonville Jaguars, which was also sneakily a top 15 offense last year. And I think they could repeat that and be a top 10 offense this year too. They're shutting down really good teams, Alex. If they do this and and Patrick Mahomes is there and the targets around Mahomes figure it out, I don't know a team that's stopping them into the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, week 1, this defense looks legit, and now they got back Chris Jones. Damn, I mean, if the offense can get back to the level that they were before, this team is unstoppable. I mean,
If
right
they're
now
averaging
the
if
defense
they're
is basically
averaging
doing.
21 to 28 points, it's over. It's
Yeah, I
just
mean,
over.
at this point, the defense is basically like carrying the team as much as like the offense did in years prior, basically. So if the offense can get it together, like to the level that they were before, this is an amazing team, as usual. That's where they're always the favorites. Just a small note here on my EPA per play. Trevor Lawrence is currently QB 33 based off adjusted EPA per play. There's
Oh, God.
34 QBs eligible. So yeah,
That's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad. I mean, it looked pretty much off this week, but it's part of. I mean, as we said, most of that is the KC defense looking great.
I was about to say it's just part of playing the KC defense. Like,
Yeah. Well, they do have a bounce back week next week when they face the Texans. So pretty good chance they get back to on track there, the Jaguars.
yeah.
Like everyone will get on track.
Calvin Ridley will be back. Travis Etienne will look amazing. Yeah.
Another note is that Christian Kirk probably isn't dead.
No, I didn't think he was. I think we overreacted to Calvin Ridley's Week 1 game, and we saw it on hand when Jacksonville played a defense that was worth their salt. That he went to Calvin Ridley more. That's just the fact of it.
And it's probably gonna be a matchup thing. Like if they see that they can explore the slot more, they will probably throw to the slot more. And it's part of what happened here in KC from what I saw. They just had better matchups for him.
Calvin Ridley, yeah.
No, for Kirk, they had better matchup this week.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Versus
Sorry.
Ridley.
I was thinking about it the inverse, that
Yeah.
Christian Kirk or that Kansas City had better cornerbacks to cover Ridley on the outside. Yeah.
Well, moving on to the next one.
You thought you were riding high for the first possession of this game.
I was.
Yeah,
like for the first quarter,
were.
I was like, okay, maybe I have a game here. No. The Buffalo Bills win 38-10 versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Just complete destruction.
If that game didn't turn, if the Raiders just kept momentum going after that early start, I don't even know. I'd have just turned my phone off.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a complete destruction by the Bills. It involves every single running back that they have in the game, basically. And they just ran a pretty good offense. The defense was also stout. I mean, this Bills defense is no joke. We saw that week 1 as well. And I mean, the Raiders started out nice, but then just faded. They just basically can't hang with this team. They are, of course, a much worse team. They were 8.5-point underdogs, which I took them, to be fair.
Yeah, you did.
It's one of
your
wins.
They needed more 28.5 points.
Yeah, I do have one stat for Josh Jacobs here. Is that Josh Jacobs doesn't have a run getting more than 20 yards since that walk-off 86-yarder in overtime against Seahawks last November. So yeah, buddy. The explosiveness might not be there. And in this game, I believe he finished with -2 rushing yards on 9 attempts.
So
maybe there's a wall.
Are you willing to say that the truth is somewhere in the middle, and that I'm closer to right than you are, that the Raiders are a bad team?
A bad team that is tied for first in the AFC West?
Stop it.
Oh, I have another stat for you on the EPA list. You know who's first in that list? Or not first, but top 5 in that list? Jimmy Garoppolo.
Stop it.
It is actually true. Jimmy Garoppolo is top 5 in that list. I believe is 5, yeah. Is the 5th in that list. So yeah, I mean, from what I saw with New Orleans, again, the difference isn't much to another. I think the Raiders will be okay. They also didn't have Jacoby Myers this week, so that should change moving forward.
It should change. All right.
I hope. I mean, it was technically a concussion. I hope it was a terrible concussion.
Yeah,
and we will talk about
nasty.
the guy who made that concussion, because he apparently likes to do those now. He just had one versus the Commanders, but we'll get to that.
All right. So the next game. Oh, the stupid Titans. does before that, does Ren or Austin want to talk about the Bills and the Raiders?
Not really.
No, I don't got anything.
Just that Josh Allen either looks like the greatest quarterback of all time or one of the worst of all time.
Josh Allen plays from ahead. He does not play from behind. If you are behind and you have Josh Allen, you are not in a spot to win that football game. It doesn't matter.
My takeaway from Josh Allen these first 2 weeks is that the dude probably has a dead wish. I mean, it takes unnecessary risk after unnecessary risk with carries that it just doesn't go down to because he wants to get like one more yard. And I mean, I applaud that from a fanwood type of standpoint. But dude,
He's a franchise
take better
quarterback.
care of yourself.
You're a franchise. Yeah,
Come on.
exactly. Like, you're not a running back. If you get hurt, the team season is basically over. Stop it. So, talk about your boring Titans.
I mean, this is just what will happen. Like they are basically like the original version of the Falcons at this point. The defense isn't as good as the Falcons, but like the front seven is still stout, especially like the D line. It's still pretty stout. And I mean, they will just find ways to win games. But in this case, it's probably like the Chargers found ways to lose games at this point.
The Chargers are masters at finding ways to lose football games.
I mean, I will drop you another stat here. The Chargers are the 33rd team in the Super Bowl era since 1966 with 50 plus points and 0 turnovers through 2 games. They are the only team to start 0-2.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know how the Chargers do it. It's honestly it's an impressive skill set. Austin remembers the playoff game with the Jaguars, I'm sure, very well.
Yes, I do.
So the Chargers just I have like a soft spot for them. I keep picking them. They keep letting me down. That's just the way it is, I guess.
I mean, I have no clue how Brandon Staley wasn't fired last year, but I mean, he's technically a defensive head coach, and the defense isn't really playing right now. It's like the same story as last year. Now he has like all of his defensive personnel that he wants. It's no one else's fault but his, and the defense still looks terrible. So something has to give here. I mean, he's wasting like Herbert's best years.
He had Joey Bosa on the defensive line.
Yes, and defense still looks terrible.
And Khalil Mack.
Yes,
still and Derwin James.
And they allowed the Titans 27 points. Which I'm not entirely sure that Ryan Tannehill can like be a starting QB anymore. And they still allow them to pass.
Apparently he can against the Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, 246 yards, 1 TD, a QB rating of 123. And he looks terrible.
Get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't get how the results happen for the Chargers.
You have to pull the plug on Staley.
At some point, yes.
It should have been last season. After the Jags debacle.
I don't get. Yeah. No. That if there was ever a fireable offense in a playoff game, that was it. That was it.
I mean, I have no clue how that dude even like walked into the building next day. Dude should have been like completely barred off the team. But no, it's the Chargers. Chargers will Chargers. What was that? I didn't get it.
They should have changed his access codes to the building the next day.
Yeah. Exactly. Just like put him somewhere else. Like, dude, you're off the team. Like, and
you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Like the most shocking thing is that he's actually like he was a defensive coordinator with the Rams. I mean, he's showing zero defensive prowess with this team.
He doesn't have Aaron Donald. He just has Joey Bosa. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, we can move on to the next one.
Okay.
Talking about the Chargers is quite depressing at this point. We will talk about Daniel Jones, I guess. The New York Giants.
I think. How did the Cardinals
Arizona
lose this
Cardinals.
game? They lose this game.
I mean, the Cardinals are pulling like some major Colts Jeff Saturday, like start super hot and then lose the game. They are pulling it to a perfection. They really want Caleb.
Like I've never accused an NFL team of like what was it called in basketball that was tanking? There was a word. Ren, what was the word? What did the 76ers do? Oh, Ren has his mic.
I'm just thinking of tanking. I don't think there was a specific word.
What is tanking the word? Tanking for the higher picks?
Sandbagging?
Well, maybe sandbagging. Either way, the Cardinals are intentionally losing games. If you told me that right now today, I believe you. I totally believe you.
I mean, I believe like going into the half, Daniel Jones had around like 60 yards passing. In the second like half alone, I believe he had like 259 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, they turned a 20-0 lead around.
Yeah, they turned a 20-point lead into a loss.
Yeah.
That's like reserved for like the Falcons Super Bowl and like I don't know. I don't know how.
In the second half.
Through like the first half, I believe they were down like 60-0 on the season, like points wise. The Giants.
I
Yeah,
don't
they
know.
were.
I don't know.
I mean, it wasn't good to see, but then I mean they picked it back up,
It was good to see.
and
It
like
it honestly felt like I angered a god or some kind of deity, and they just made sure everything that needed to happen to work against me happened this week. That's really what it felt like watching these games.
I mean, yeah, we were both on the Giants, I believe, if not mistaken, -5. We
Yeah,
both took a beating there. It's
yeah.
a minor miracle that they won, though. And then, I mean, Saquon, he left the game injured. I believe it's an ankle sprain. It's not been classified as an high or low ankle sprain, but it's an ankle sprain. The current status for the Thursday night football game, it's a game time decision, although I don't expect him to play with such a quick turnaround. But I mean, if you saw the game, when he went down, he took off the helmet. He was completely mad, but then they basically just started to wrap the ankle. So it seemed to me like if if they really needed him, he was ready to come back to play, which is nuts. If you saw the injury, his leg was basically like completely shredded. But yeah, I mean, let's. I do hope he doesn't play because it's one of those injuries that can re-aggravate, and it's a nagging injury that can nag you all season. And I mean, we already lost one top QB in the league yesterday. Let's hope another one doesn't go down for a long time.
Top running back in the league.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's a good place to end with this depression that is the Arizona. Oh God, we gotta talk about the Cowboys.
I do want to say something here. Dobbs looked okay. I mean, from what I saw from Dobbs, like the first half, it looks okay. I mean, played with
Austin,
guts.
What?
did you watch your stupid Cowboys play?
I watched some of it.
Would
I
you
watched
like
towards
to?
the end.
Would you like to give the summary of Cowboys Jets then?
Decimation.
Decimation.
Complete and total on both sides of the ball. Decimation.
I believe Dak Prescott started like 14 for 14 or something ridiculous like that. He didn't have an incompletion until like halftime. I don't know. I don't know what the Jets were supposed to do to win that game. I don't know. It just looked like they were going to lose regardless. That's what it looked like.
The only way the Jets would have won if they didn't lose Rodgers.
I don't think that would have mattered.
No, that wouldn't have mattered.
That would not have mattered. The way the Cowboys were playing, that would not have mattered.
I also don't think Zach played as bad as people think that he did.
Zach didn't play bad, dude.
Thank you. Thank
you. Not. And I even saw Robert Saleh. He even said, Saleh. He doesn't blame Zach for the last two interceptions.
Like,
And he shouldn't.
You were trying to throw us into the game. I'm not mad at you for that.
yeah,
And even the first of those two, I mean, it was basically a play where Wilson basically just didn't make the right play on the ball. It seemed didn't make the right cut in set throw, and it led to the interception. But yeah, the second one was just playing from behind. He was trying to make something happen.
Yeah,
It happens.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't.
Think if the Jets want to continue and actually want to have a chance at anything, Wilson to Wilson connections got to start working.
And they did have that touchdown.
83, but he had 8 targets.
So it's really hard to say because I don't think, even if Rodgers was there, I don't think the Jets are a good team when the quarterback is the big piece. I think the way this team is assembled, it has to be like Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook getting the offense going, which will open up one-on-ones to Garrett Wilson. So
the main issue with this team, though, it's the O-line. I mean,
the O-line's terrible.
Getting crushed. Yeah,
it's
it's completely terrible. I don't think K-Rod would have done anything with this team, to be honest.
He probably would have broken his Achilles again.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm not joking.
Zach was
overrated.
It's bad.
Yeah.
Zach was just constantly under pressure here. And yeah, as Austin said, I don't think he looked bad. I mean, I was talking about it in some fantasy chats. Yeah. For the first half. I am not super interested right now, but I do have him in some places still. Now, I don't think he looked terrible. I think he looked okay to start the game. They are still kind of afraid of letting him throw too much, which I think it's comprehensible after last season. So they are still not opening the whole playbook to him. I do hope it changes eventually. But from what he had to endure and what he was allowed to do, I think he played okay.
I don't even know if that's the right call. So here's the thing: you're the Jets, okay? You just lost Aaron Rodgers, your franchise quarterback. You also have Breece Hall, your best running back, on a pitch count. So, what's your plan to win? What seriously? What's your plan to win? My best player is on a pitch count. My best quarterback is out for the season. What's your plan to win then? Please tell me.
I mean, I believe Breece had 4 touches, if not mistaken.
Yeah, he was 4 for 9.
Yeah, no targets or receptions. Oh, he had 2 targets, but no receptions.
So what are you just gonna do? Just keep throwing at Garrett Wilson all game? Hope that works? No, because you're still running it. You're running it with Michael Carter and Dalvin Cook and hoping it. I don't know, man.
You know who was the leading rusher for them?
Michael Carter, if I'm not mistaken.
Zach Wilson.
Oh no, Zach
Wilson.
He was 5 for 36.
Yeah,
and that's exactly my point.
The only one to break double digits in rushing.
Yeah.
That's exactly my point. I think if once Breece Hall is off the pitch count and is 100% back from the ACL, I think the Jets will be fine wherever fine is. I'm not quite sure, especially in a division with Miami and Buffalo, but I think they'll be fine, relatively fine.
Yeah, I mean, and for those who say that they could get a veteran QB, I mean, why do you want to hurt?
They got one. He's hurt.
Yeah, I mean, if you bring a Wentz or
what are you gonna bring? You're gonna bring Matt Ryan? You want to see Matt Ryan throw 2-yard passes all game? Okay, sure.
I mean, and the best thing with Wilson, right? That he can run, he is mobile, he is athletic, and that's what you need with an O-line like this. If you put Matt Ryan out there, he's gonna be pretty much destroyed every single flap because he can't avoid anything.
He might tear his Achilles too.
Yeah, quite possibly.
All right, on to the next one.
Which is
the decimation that should have happened,
but didn't.
You actually
did you see anything from this game?
No.
Okay, so
I just saw the freaking Rams kept scoring. That's all I saw.
okay, so I'm gonna tell you what the line was that you took. So you took San Francisco
It's
minus
10
8.
points.
No,
Yeah,
San
okay,
Francisco
8.
minus 8.
So
Okay,
they almost
so
got there.
like with 2 seconds left on the clock, down 20-30, the Rams kick a field goal.
Oh my god. So the Rams literally did something to
Someone in that
cause me
someone in that staff at the Rams.
saw that
I'm
line.
pretty sure.
Someone had that line. Someone had that. No, no.
Because I have no clue how, like, with no time on the clock, you kick a field goal to only be down by 7. Like, I can understand if it's then like an onside kick or so on, but there was no time. I mean, they kicked the field goal with 2 seconds on the clock. The time expired as they kicked it. There's some shady things there, but I mean, yeah. Overall, the game looked closer. It's a weird game because it's one of those games that, like, the Rams never really had a chance, but the 49ers just couldn't pull away from them. There was never a point in that game in which I said, like, the Rams are completely winning this game, but there was also
Right.
not a point in that game where I said, like, the Niners were in risk of losing it. They always seemed to, like, they just couldn't finalize some drives and just couldn't get it, like, right to close out some plays. The Rams defense played nice, still allowed 30 points, but I mean, it's the Niners. So, like, the most surprising story here was that K Makers was basically like an healthy scratch 10 minutes before kickoff, just out of nowhere.
They're trading him, but
Yeah, or cutting him. I've read both.
I could believe
Like, his
Next game
usage is
too.
his usage is like insane right
the
now, though.
stupid Commanders.
I believe he ran like
Let's talk
52
about the
routes
stupid
in week 2.
Commanders and the Broncos.
52.
Who did?
Yeah, Kyron Williams. His usage is insane right now. He ran 52 routes in week
Oh
2.
my god.
Yeah.
They'll
He
find
has
a good player eventually.
he has 80 total routes run throughout 2 weeks. Second best is like Ramondre Stevenson with 61. I mean, the dude, like, the usage is just stupid. But I mean, other than that, it's still the Puka Nacua show. Apparently, Puka Nacua is like some. It's gonna be one of those players where like the analytics got it completely wrong, and like he's not the fastest, he's not the most athletic, but at the end of the day, he will perform because he's a really smart player and he's a great route runner and gets in places that Stafford finds him.
Like Cooper Cup.
Like Cooper Cup. He's Cooper Kapua?
Cooper.
Let's call him Cooper Kapua now.
Let's talk about the stupid Commander. It just feels like every game. It was every game. Every game was just bad. What about the Commanders? Go ahead, talk about the Commanders. This is the Alex victory lap episode. So
I mean, Sam Howell looks great. Sam Howell legit looks like the best QB out of that class, like by a
stop it.
country mile. It does. I mean, he really does. And I mean, if you look at like the stats of that game, you might think that Russell is getting okay. He's not. Russell is still pretty terrible. That offense looked completely off still.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they lost so many pieces already on the offense.
I mean, who did they lose though?
Dulcich, Jerry Jeudy.
Judy's back.
He's not 100, dude. Stop it.
The Broncos won't have a good offense because Russell Wilson is dust.
Javonte Williams is still not 100%. He tore his ACL and he tore his if you want to call knee decimation, he had knee decimation at the end of last season. I don't believe he's 100%. Like, it's We'll see.
Russell Wilson looks like he's easily 40 right now.
He's going on. He looks like he's going up.
Yeah. It's rough for Russ right now. And I mean, if you see like that Hail Mary at the end, I have no clue how he completed that pass because it was basically like a bobbled pass.
He didn't complete the pass.
Yeah,
The
it was
DB
Brandon
completed
Johnson.
the pass for him.
Yeah.
I watched
really
it.
Stupid play.
Yeah.
On the Commander side, though, Brian Robinson looks great.
Yeah.
Finally, we're admitting that Brian Robinson is good. 18 for 87 yards, 4.8 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns. Now getting a bit more involved in the passing game with 3 targets, 2 receptions for 42 yards. I mean, I think Brian Robinson is gonna be a pretty good running back. But yeah, the story here is that, like, the Broncos are terrible and the Commanders are probably better than you gave them credit for. As I said. And they are 2-0, I believe.
They are. It's just.
And the Broncos are the last team in the AFC West now?
No, them and the Chargers are tied.
Oh, the Chargers. I forgot about the Chargers.
Yes,
How can I forget about the Chargers?
How can you forget about the Chargers?
Yeah, I mean, the defense didn't even come out to play this week. I am enjoying like Sean Payton talking like that much trash that he basically was gonna fix Russ because he could identify all the problems and so on. And Russ still looks as bad as he did prior to him coming in, so